Would you be the jerk for refusing to fix a microwave? We'll get into that in a bit, but first, am I the jerk for refusing to pay for our friend's now broken iPhone and sunglasses that our son broke? I'm 28-year-old female, and my husband is 32-year-old male. Our son in question is 6 months old. Whenever someone holds them, we warn them that they'll try to grab your glasses or phone and sometimes even your hair. We're trying to break this habit, but he is 6 months old. Now, I warned my husband that a friend of mine, 33-year-old female, let's call her Jean, came to visit and wants to hold him, which we didn't mind at all. I warned her about it all, saying, "Oh, best take your sunglasses off your head, he'll grab them." Now, these are Gucci sunglasses costing almost 800 British pounds, which to me is a crazy amount for sunglasses, but each to their own. She rolled her eyes at me and accused me of hogging my own baby. I warned her again and she said, "It's fine." So she stood holding him, took her phone out wanting to take a selfie, which again I'm fine with as long as it's not posted. Don't want a pic of him online as of yet. He of course grabbed her sunglasses, got excited as he got them, waved his hand about the sunglasses, and they flew. She screamed, scaring him. He panicked and flailed, hitting her iPhone to the floor. I quickly took him as she was freaking out. She says I need to buy her a new iPhone 16 and replace her sunglasses or give her the money for them, which is 2,300 British pounds. I said we can't pay that as that's not even my monthly wage, plus I'm on maternity. But also, I don't feel like I should as you ignored my warnings. I'm called heartless for not being more understanding of her upset. I was more concerned with calming down my son. My husband just shrugged, telling her I did warn her. I fixed the typos since they were so triggering to people and also to those who thought an adult didn't write this. Adults can have dyslexia. So, am I the jerk? What I would love is if everybody in the comments went like full courtroom judge here. Basically, like the premise is this person is like trying to sue OP for 2,300 British pounds for their kid damaging their stuff, but they did get those warnings in. Like, is it even applicable? Would it get through the doors of your courtroom? Because I'm not sure it would mine. Bonus points, by the way, if somebody comments with like a creative judgment of what this person deserves to have happen. Like, I sentence OP's friend to 30 days of having to use a Nokia brick cell phone. Swillshop commented, "Not the jerk. Your financial situation isn't relevant. If it was your responsibility, it would remain so. You would be asking for kindness for the debt to be forgiven or reduced, but you're not responsible. You duly warned her. She took responsibility when she rolled her eyes, dismissed your warning, and said, 'It's fine.' End of story, end of discussion with her. I'm guessing she wanted a selfie of the baby and her with her fine Gucci glasses. That mattered more to her than safeguarding her stuff. She could have also asked you to take a picture of her and the baby. Also, hi, I'm Steven, and if you guys enjoy getting to decide whether or not all of these people are jerks, why not hit those like and subscribe buttons down below? That said, our next story is, am I the jerk for not bringing my daughter's friend home and making her parents come get her? My daughter and I live about an hour outside New York City. Since she was a baby, I've taken her there most weekends. As she got older, she occasionally brought friends. They've always known the rules: bring a bag with things for the train, carry your own stuff, stick together, expect lots of walking, and have fun. Phones are fine, but I encourage screen-free activities. I always speak to parents beforehand and emphasize the walking. We sometimes walk 45 minutes or more. For her 12th birthday last weekend, she wanted to go to the city with friends, visit favorite spots, have dinner, and maybe see a show. My mom helped pay for tickets and joined us. My daughter invited 3 girls, 2 longtime friends who knew the routine, and a new friend, Leah. I called Leah's mom, explaining the rules, warned about the walking, and suggested Leah bring something for the train since the signal is bad. Leah's mom said she was excited. My daughter also explained expectations. On the train, Leah brought only her phone, got bored when the signal cut out, refused to chat or play games with the others, and complained. When we arrived, she immediately asked for a cab. My daughter reminded her we walk. As we browsed shops, Leah kept whining and asking for a cab. I stayed patient, offered water and snack breaks, and even suggested the subway to be nice, but she refused when she learned what it was. A few hours in, we stopped for dinner at a place with options for everyone. Leah complained again and said she wanted to go home. I pulled her aside to check if she was sick or upset. She just said it was boring. I told her we would be there for a few more hours for the show, but if she wanted to leave, she could call her mom. Leah called, and her mom asked me to bring her back. Even if my mom or I left with Leah and took a train back after we dropped her off, we would miss the show and my daughter wanted both of us there. I explained that we wouldn't head back until after the show. Leah's mom didn't want to pay for a train ticket or drive. She eventually sent Leah's dad, who picked her up before the show. Leah stayed crabby through dinner. Afterward, Leah's mom trashed me to the other moms, but they backed me up, saying they wouldn't expect me to cut the trip short unless a child was sick or hurt, which I would do. Now, Leah's mom won't let her hang out with my daughter. I can't help wondering if I should have just sucked it up and taken her home. Am I the jerk? Guys, surely I'm not alone here, like this one should be obvious, right? Almost similar to the first story, everything was outlined for Leah beforehand. You can't get told exactly what's going to happen and then go on the trip and be like, nah, this is boring, take me home. Like, nah, this one actually isn't for me, just take me back now. Like, who are you, King Charles? Yes, Leah, let me fetch the chariot to take you home. Our next story is, would I be the jerk if I threatened to turn off my Life 360? I, 19-year-old female, am in my first week of college. I've had Life 360 with my parents since I was about 16 for general safety reasons. However, they're a bit overbearing and controlling about where I go, even after I turned 18. I found myself being extremely stressed about doing very normal things and being worried about them getting upset. Before I left for college, my mom asked me to leave my Life 360 on, joking about how she wants to know what ditch to get me out of if something goes wrong, which I completely understand. But my parents have been obsessively checking my location since I've gotten here. They've mentioned in passing places I went, literally like stores to buy stuff for school, when I didn't tell them I was going. They've been pressuring me to go to church and checking my location frequently to make sure I am. I don't want to, but I like to keep the peace. It's a bit uncomfortable. I'm wondering if I would be the jerk if I told them that if they don't stop stalking me, I'm going to turn off my Life 360. I understand their reasoning behind wanting me to have it, but it's uncomfortable knowing that wherever I am, they're probably looking constantly. I'd appreciate any input y'all have. Edit, wow, posting here has been so validating and I feel less crazy. Thank you for your kind words of support and advice. I haven't done anything yet. I've decided to wait until my next therapy appointment to talk it out with my therapist before I take action. I might update if I remember. Alright, roll call. How many of you out there had parents that made you feel like you can't really get away with turning off Life 360? Which, if anybody doesn't know, is basically an app that just shows your location to whoever has access to it constantly. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the idea of being able to have access to it if you need that information. But I think the problem is OP's parents are kind of like turning OP into like the main thing of their lives, like their form of entertainment. They're not looking at like the crappy cat boomer Facebook posts they're supposed to look at or whatever. No, they're popping open Life 360 to see what corner of the world OP's in today. But like I said with the roll call, I myself would probably have felt a little iffy when I was OP's age about turning it off if my parents had something like that. I mean, admittedly, I'd probably be afraid that I'd be annihilated too. MVMs commented, not the jerk. Gods, I remember the days when the answer to "Where is your kid?" was, heck if I know, she's due back at dinner. I cannot imagine living under the crushing surveillance of Life 360. George Cardus commented, I went no contact with my mother because she made a point of knowing everyone. I am not even exaggerating when I say that if I went anywhere on the Gulf Coast, someone would recognize me and mention seeing me to my mother. She lost her crap when I moved to Texas because I don't know anyone there, meaning she couldn't track my movements. Even with that, I couldn't imagine having my phone tracked. Absolutely not the jerk. But I hope OP's able to get their parents to back off a bit. This next story is, am I the jerk for uninviting my sister-in-law for my wedding after she leaked my pregnancy? I, 26-year-old female, am 10 weeks pregnant. My partner, 28-year-old male, and I told our immediate families early, but made it very clear that we weren't telling anyone else until after the first trimester. Last night, my sister's fiance, 29-year-old female, posted a story on Instagram. It was a get ready with me for a family dinner we had last weekend. She then casually, indirectly talks about becoming an auntie. She tagged me and my fiance. I saw it when I got a notification that I was tagged. I had over 50 messages from distant friends and coworkers before I could even process it. We haven't even told our friends yet. I was totally mad, called her screaming. She tried to say it was an accident and that she forgot and she was just teasing. I told her she was uninvited from our wedding. She cried. My future in-laws are furious, saying I'm overreacting and ruining the family over a silly social media post. They say I should just be happy people are excited. My fiance is on my side. I might need some help here because admittedly, I'm not the most well informed about wedding etiquette and things like that, but it doesn't feel unjustified to me personally. I guess I would just say I hope that OP definitely does some soul searching and tries to make sure that this is exactly what they want to do. That said, they had so much indifference to OP and what mattered in OP's life. They immediately turned around and said the exact thing they were told explicitly not to do and went, "Oh, sorry, I forgot." Yeah, well, it's not a surprise that OP forgot to send your wedding invitation. Red Purple commented, "It wasn't an accident, she made a social media post. That was on purpose." There really isn't any coming back from that in regards to your relationship with her. She's basically ruined that forever. You cannot trust her. Just remember that. As far as uninviting her from your wedding, I get it. I may have gone the route of removing her from the wedding party and making her just a plain old guest. Also, lesson learned. Don't tell anyone about any future pregnancies or anything that you don't want people to know until you actually want them to know. Our next story is, am I the jerk for refusing to sell my house to a landlord? I bought a fixer-upper in my 20s with my now ex. I bought him out, but agreed to give him back his portion of deposit he paid upon sale, whenever that may be. We remained friends, as we've known each other since childhood. Regardless of that, I still plan to stick to my work 8 years later. I told him I was in the process of selling the house. He asked me if I had any offers, and I told him yeah, but from a few landlords. I didn't think that needed further explanation because he knows full well how I feel about landlords buying up starter homes in lower income areas, and how strongly I felt about turning this house into a home for myself and the next occupants. He's absolutely furious at me for not going for a quick sale because he wants his measly $5,000 back now. I told him no way and tried to remind him of all the offers we made on starter homes that just got swept up by landlords. It was devastating, and we almost lost all hope of getting on the property ladder. None of them wanted this one because it needed so much work. He's blowing my phone up and told my parents, who are more gently telling me to just go for the easy sale. But I'm in no rush to move and want all of my hard work to go to a family instead of someone's business. Am I the jerk? Edit, giving him the $5,000 specifically from the sale has been discussed over messages many times in the past. If I just give him $5,000 now, he could still say I owe him from the sale of the house. Getting him out was a nightmare as he can be pretty nasty. Most of the time he's fine, but he suddenly switches and goes to war with people. I mean, considering it's over the matter of $5,000, I would probably consult some kind of lawyer about this kind of thing. I mean, if anything, maybe it's worth considering writing up some contract that basically says in words that you're paying them $5,000 now, and that satisfies whatever debts are owed from the eventual sale of the house. Again, though, I'm not a lawyer, but it sounds nice. This firefighter commented, "Not the jerk. You don't owe a landlord a sale, and you don't owe your ex instant cash. You're selling responsibly and sticking to your values. Nothing wrong with that." OP responded commenting, "Technically, I don't owe him any cash at all. I paid him for all the equity he had in the house. I stupidly agreed to it honestly just to convince him to leave. He has on and off gambling and substance issues, so going off his current attitude, one of those things are taking the lead." Our next story is, am I the jerk for bringing my own food to a wedding? So I, 36-year-old female, went to my college friend's wedding last weekend. I was really excited for it. She's a good friend and I wanted to celebrate. The issue is, I have a medical condition that means I can't eat certain common ingredients, gluten and dairy. It's not a fad diet or a preference. I get very sick if I eat them. I mentioned this on the RSVP card where it asked about dietary restrictions. The bride told me the venue couldn't guarantee anything gluten or dairy-free because of cross-contamination, but she hoped I would make do with the fruit and salad. I didn't want to cause trouble, so I just quietly brought a small container of safe food in my bag, literally just grilled chicken and rice. When dinner was served, I discreetly went outside for 5 minutes, ate it quickly, and then came back in to join everyone. I didn't make a scene, didn't bring smelly food, didn't take anything away from the event. Turns out the groom's mother saw me with the container outside and apparently told a bunch of people I was disrespecting the caterer and making the couple look cheap. At the reception, she confronted me and said I was embarrassing the family and that I should have just eaten beforehand if I had an issue. I explained that I wanted to be there for the full event and didn't want to get faint or get sick. She rolled her eyes and said I was selfish and that the weddings is about the couple, not about your diet. Some of our mutual friends also agree that I made a jerk move and made the couple look bad. Now I'm wondering if I really crossed a line. I didn't want to draw any attention, but maybe I should have handled it differently. So, am I the jerk for bringing my own food to a wedding? Update, thank you all for your responses and for understanding. It helped me be secure in my choice and not second guess myself as much. So, I will say, I know maybe it's a less than perfect solution, but OP probably could have kind of like pre-gamed this kind of thing. Basically where instead of having to bring a container of chicken and rice to the wedding and eat discreetly outside, you just kind of, pound a whole bunch of chicken and rice before you go to the wedding and hope it kind of holds you over for the evening. But if that was otherwise not possible, I don't fault OP for making sure that they eat something when they need to eat something. Like, would you guys agree that it is wild for them to look OP in the eyes and say, well, just enjoy the fruit and salad? I Am Irene commented, I have a medical condition, not the jerk. You took care of your own needs, that's it. Is it somehow respectful to eat food that would physically harm you? LOL, no. The groom's mother is looking to make trouble where it doesn't exist. Ignore her. Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling the bride that her armpits smell on her wedding day since I was the maid of honor? I, 27-year-old female, have a best friend, 27-year-old female, who got married recently. It was an outdoors wedding in the middle of the day on the West Coast. During the reception portion, she was sweaty and her armpits smelled. I discreetly tell her since that's what we usually do for each other. Before she married her husband, 28-year-old male, she had gotten mad at him one time because he didn't warn her that she smelled when they went to a fancy event. She excused herself. I had smelled my own pits, so I excused myself as well to freshen up. When I returned, she was back and she smelled great again. I thought I did good. When she got back from her honeymoon, she told me I made her self-conscious for the rest of the wedding. She said I made her feel bad, and she said she's mad at me for ruining her big day. Am I the jerk? I don't know about anybody listening, but I kind of have the policy where I would rather know if I got something in my teeth. Listen, on my wedding day, if I am rank, let me know. Maybe I can try to counter it. I mean, God forbid, at least I can try to make it at least a little bit better for the wedding officiant that's trying to get us married. I mean, I'd rather at least know that I stink and have an attempt at trying to get freshened up a little bit, rather than have the wedding officiant take a whiff and say, "Dear God, you can kiss the bride, get it over with already." Cake Agent 2101 commented, "Not the jerk. I'd be mad if my best friend didn't tell me she could smell me." OP replied commenting, "That was my thinking. As I alluded to, I've seen her get mad at her husband back when he was her fiancé that he didn't warn her that she smelled before they went to a birthday party. I feel like I'm getting mixed messages from her about what she expects her closest people to do for her." Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling a woman to charge a guy more at a yard sale? I was shopping around our city's yard sales yesterday and stopped to look through some clothes. While I was looking, a guy walked up and asked the old lady running the sale if she had anything golf related. My ears perked up because I've just recently gotten into golf. The lady said that she had her late husband's clubs but didn't know what they would be worth, so she dragged them out to show the guy. It was obvious the guy knew golf by the way he took a couple of practice swings, and you could tell by his car and clothing he appeared to be well off. As he looked around the bag, the lady was telling him that her husband had just passed and that she didn't know if the clubs were worth anything. He said they weren't great and offered $200 for everything. She seemed hesitant and said she didn't know, and he kind of just talked over her and said, "Here, I'll go grab the money," and walked towards his car. I walked over to see what was in the bag, and for anyone who knows golf, I'll throw this out there. Almost new GT3 driver and 3-wood, gently used Mizuno irons, nice Titleist wedges, a very nice looking Scotty putter, great condition Titleist cart bag. This stuff combined would be a steal at $1,000. Obviously, this lady's late husband had spent a good penny on the clubs, and I felt bad for her. So I told her she should pass on that guy's offer and have someone at a local courses pro shop help her price the stuff out to sell if she wanted. She seemed totally shocked when I told her the driver and 3 wood were probably worth $800 alone. When the guy came back, he was glaring at me, and when he tried to hand the lady the cash, she said no thanks and that she was going to get the stuff appraised. He got super upset and told her she can't back out of a deal, so I chimed in that they didn't really make a deal. He got pissed at me and told me I needed to mind my business. The lady then told him she wasn't interested again and to please leave. He walked to the end of the driveway and just stood there angry like my toddler would. Before he walked away, he called me a jerk and stomped off. The whole thing was more funny than anything to me. I was telling this story to my coworkers today, and they were all dogging on me, saying that I should have kept my mouth shut and let the guy get the good deal, but it felt wrong letting him rip her off. So, am I the jerk here? So, I myself feel terrible for people who sell things for way less than they're worth. Over the past year, I'd really gotten into this one YouTube channel where they go around to like garage sales and flea markets and whatnot, and they buy secondhand or used video games and flip them. And it just took one time of seeing them run into a garage sale where a guy had a great collection of like 70s and 80s vintage gaming stuff, like almost new in-box stuff from way back then, and they got it for like $100 or $200 or something. What I was saying is, it took that one time of seeing that to completely turn me off from the channel ever again. Like, yeah, it's a great deal and maybe it makes for great content, but this guy should have gotten $500 to $700 more at least. Slater commented, "You work with people who would support a guy ripping off a widow? Who expressed disappointment that he didn't let it happen? Why do you ever speak to these people? Are these even people? For the love of freak." Let me tell you something, her husband literally torpedoed back to this world through you to stop that crap from happening, not the jerk. Our next story is, am I the jerk for refusing to fix my sister and brother-in-law's microwave? As far as I know, my sister has a happy marriage with her husband, Roger. I think he's generally a good guy and a great father, but he does this thing where he puts something in the microwave and will not come to get it when it's ready, so it just beeps and beeps until someone brings it to him. It's so loud, and due to their open floor plans and acoustics, you can hear it no matter where you are in the house. If I'm over, I'll just press the end button or open the door to make it stop, but each and every time, Roger will turn it on again until anyone, brings whatever it is to him. He knows the noise of the beeping drives everyone bonkers, and he just keeps doing it to get waited on. He actually thinks it's funny that the whole house gets mad at him about it. Last week, I finally had enough and got it to stop making any noise whatsoever, and he got pretty pissed once he figured out no noise equals a no waitress service. My sister tried being faux mad at me for his sake at first, but ended up asking me not to change it back after a few days of blessed microwave silence. Roger says I'm interfering in their marriage and tampering with his property. Even though it's causing friction between them, my sister doesn't want me to change it back, and when he threatened to get a new microwave, she told him she would do the same thing to it. I told him that Google is his friend too, and he can change it back himself if he wants. He's insisting that I change it back, but I'm not budging. Am I the jerk here? I'm gonna say, for the sake of everybody who's been annoyed by a continuous beeping, OP is not the jerk. Thankfully, my ridiculously overpriced microwave, and I'm not telling you the price, if you guess it accurately in the comments I'll let you know, doesn't do that continuous beeping thing. I mean, to be fair, I would be pretty miserable if I popped in a Hot Pocket, came here to read some Reddit stories, and kept hearing beep, beep, beep in the background. Last thing though, not surprising that somebody who is too lazy to get their own food wouldn't want to go to the effort of fixing their own microwave. Fly Twaddle commented, "Not the jerk. I don't care about the rest of the story. People who stop appliances from beeping deserve a laurel and hearty handshake." Our next story is, am I the jerk for throwing my nephew out of a family party? For some context, me, 53-year-old male, and my family live in the South, specifically Charleston, South Carolina. A year back, my son Jake, male 20 now, started attending the University of South Carolina, go Gamecocks, and during his freshman year, he met a lovely girl named Monique. Also 20 years old, Monique is, as her name suggests, African American, while our family is Caucasian, but neither me nor anyone else in my immediate family has any issue with that. She's sweet, beautiful, and overall an incredible young woman, and we all accepted her with open arms from the first time we met her. A week ago, my wife and I held a party at our home, and Jake and Monique both made the trip from college to attend. The party was going well until I noticed Jake and Monique were alone and Monique was crying. I asked what had happened, and Monique told me that Jake's cousin Greg, male 17, had told him that he shouldn't slum it and called Monique a ghetto W word, among other racist remarks. I went to find Greg and he admitted to this, saying that he was just looking out for my cousin. At this point, I told him to leave and he and his parents left. But his parents have been on me as of late for blowing things out of proportion. Edit, a lot of you are rightfully pointing out a bias I had where I assumed Monique was a predominantly African American name. I didn't know that it's a common French name as well and associated the name with black people since all the Moniques I personally know have been black. I didn't mean anything by this, but in retrospect, I can see how that makes me sound bad, so I'll try and do better from here on out. Yeah, whew, OP had to do quite a disclaimer at the end of that post. I mean, I've read my fair share of wild sentences on Reddit stories, and I really hope they genuinely didn't mean anything by it, but OP rolling out there with, Monique is, as her name suggests, African American, is kind of wild. If OP genuinely didn't mean anything by it, that is an all-time just absolute fumble of sentence construction. Psychological Fox 8839 commented, what the heck does Monique, as her name suggests, is African American mean? Jesus. Allergy Mom 74 commented, not the jerk. You address bigotry by setting boundaries and consequences. Your home, your rules. Good job by addressing it properly. You heard about it, you confirmed it to be fact, you enforced the consequences. Not surprised his parents were okay with it. You know who he learned it from. Edit to add, but your comment about her name though, might want to work on your own internalized racism. Monique is French. Our next story is, am I the jerk for calling my mom an idiot after she ignored my advice about co-signing a loan? Back in 2022, my uncle, who was 36 at the time, asked my mom, who was 50, to co-sign a loan for a truck. My mom agreed because he told her he was going to use it for his business as a subcontractor. I overheard my mom discussing this with my dad, who was 49 when he passed away. My dad said it wasn't a good idea, but my mom always made the final decision. He gave up and didn't argue. I joined in and told her that there was a good reason why the bank didn't want to give him a loan on that truck and that she shouldn't be risking her nearly perfect credit score. My mom argued that he was using it to start his business and already had multiple contracts lined up, which she claimed to have seen. I told her he didn't need a brand new F-250 Lariat Super Crew, that there were plenty of reasonably priced used F-250 XLs at half the cost. She replied that I didn't know what I was talking about, that he was in construction and knew the truck he needed, and that I was just a kid with no life experience. She told me to leave her alone because I was annoying. At the time, I was 23 and also working in the trades. Framers don't need a Super Duty truck, let alone a luxury trim. I tried convincing her, but she gave me the silent treatment and acted like I was being manipulative. I did some side work at his site, repairing his GC's semi-truck. Literally every material is hauled through other subs or by the GC himself. He could have gotten a cheap half truck and it would be more than enough. Now I'm 36. My dad died 2 years ago, and my mom only has one income and still has $300,000 on the mortgage. She's already struggling financially. She called me last week and asked me to help manage her finances. She showed me a letter from the bank stating that they'll repossess my uncle's truck unless the balance is paid. It turns out my uncle doesn't know how to manage a business. He's not had a single contract in months and is terrible with money. He used to gamble away his entire paychecks and spend on designer clothes. None of this surprised me. I told my mom there was nothing I could do. I reminded her that I begged her not to go through with this more than 3 years ago, and she ignored me because I was just a kid. I told her I wasn't going to waste my time helping idiots who don't want to be helped, and I'm sorry. So, am I the jerk for how I responded? I know in general you probably wouldn't call most 23-year-olds well-lived or has a lot of life experience or whatnot, but man, is it disheartening to hear about a mom that just completely ignores their own kid. OP went to them and basically said like, Mom, please just consider this a little bit more. I don't want to see you make a bad decision. I mean, with the decision she made, I'm surprised she almost had perfect credit at the time. Certainly doesn't now. Internally Candid commented, not the jerk. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. She took the risk and didn't listen to the advice of her 2 closest family members. Everything went poorly, and now she's wanting to listen. She should go to a financial advisor. At least she might listen to them first time around. OP responded commenting, I think she was trying to get me to move back and pay her rent so she can cover his payments rather than listen to my advice. LOL, not gonna do it. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another absolutely crazy Am I the Jerk here story, check out that video on the left. Or if you missed my latest video, check out that video on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.